Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Are there any questions from the brothers or the sisters here? We'll try to take them first, inshallah. Ahmed?
I have an American history question. Do you have any theory or any potential theory that you agree with on what happened to the lost colony of Roanoke?
What happened to what?
The lost colony of Roanoke Island.
The lost colony of Roanoke Island?
Yeah.
What happened to it?
Yeah.
Of course. There's many colonies and settlements and establishments that were, but they weren't lost. Huh? Black Robe, right? And the Huron, right? Go back to where you came from. Obviously, different theories out there. It's very interesting that you never broad brush everything in history. We look at the final result and we automatically think everybody sold out. Everybody gave in. There were many people who fought back, who resisted, who left, who escaped. And all cultures and races, religions, and incidents in history. We look at the end result, but there are many people who kept it real, that were thorough, that never ever submitted and did what they could to resist what they felt they needed to what? Resist, whether that was fighting, hijacking, sabotaging, or fleeing. Wallahu alam. Fadal, Dawood.
When it comes to studying the madhabs, how do you go about choosing one if that's the case without disrupting learning about the Quran and Sunnah? And how do you not cherry pick from that knowledge?
Tahir, learning madhabs, or as they say, the madhabs. Madhabs. Learning the madhab. How do you learn them? How do you figure out which one is best without disregarding the knowledge of Quran or Sunnah, cherry picking, etc.? Much has been said, much is needed to be said concerning madhabs. There are zealots and extremists on both sides, far right, far left. Only a few people have enough common sense, let alone basic Islamic knowledge, to understand balance and moderation. So therefore, a madhab is a system whose purpose or his intention is to serve the Quran and Sunnah, allow you to have access to the Quran and Sunnah, and allow you to methodically, systematically follow and submit to the rulings of the Quran and Sunnah. That may be true, that may prove true, or there may, from time to time, a glitch or a shortcoming of the system, but that's the intention of it. So anyone who goes into the discussion of madhabs with a negative and derogatory evil, they're already crashed. It was never the intention of those imams and inshallah of their followers to take you away from Quran and Sunnah. It wasn't their intention. That's first and foremost. Nor was the madhab a means of replacing the Quran and Sunnah. It wasn't supposed to be. What it turned out to be is different. Secondly is, keep things simple and easy, like tea, buying tea. You buy a sampler pack. And what you have, 2 ounces, 4 ounces of chai, Moroccan mint, chamomile, cherry, black currant, peppermint, so on and so forth. And we should have just a little bit of enough tea to make a couple of cups to try it out. Try the robust. Let me try the masala. I like that one. So next time I buy the tea, I'm going to buy, instead of 2 ounces of it, I'm going to buy 4 ounces, 8 ounces. And then eventually, when you keep spinning and reading up, all I want is the Moroccan mint. That's it. That's my favorite tea. I'll take a pound of Moroccan mint, half a pound of the chai masala, as an example. Or the mango, pineapple. But you can't start off by buying a pound of each tea. You're a beginner. So if you want to know which madhab is best for you, then take a sample and a selection from each madhab. Whether it be a course or a book or even a chapter from a book, and you'll be able to see, I like this flow, I like this style. This is better for me, so on and so forth. Understood? As far as cherry picking, then my humble opinion, you guys could disagree, that's totally fine. You're free to your own opinion, it's totally fine. I don't think that the human being is capable of avoiding cherry picking. I think cherry picking is an inherent act of the human being. And the best from among us is going to do some cherry picking eventually. If you think about it in life. Oh, you only take this from the sunnah. Oh, you only understand from the sunnah as a beard. And you only understood from the sunnah as unity. Okay. Every Muslim is what? Somehow, some way. Just like the Americans. Everybody is talking about democracy, this and that, what they want to. The military guys, the jarhead, leatherneck guys, they cherry picking. And that which they understand from the American legacy is what? It's fighting, war. And the politicians in the suit and ties and the briefcase, the only thing they understand from it is what? They're doing what? They're picking and choosing what they want. So try to minimize your cherry picking. Madhabi people, they accuse people who don't follow or study madhabs to cherry pick. All right? And obviously they themselves, extremely, what they want to take from the imam directly. When they want to take a hadith, when the hadith is sound or when they want to criticize a blatantly weak hadith, fabricated hadith, just shh, keep silent. It's very common. So try to minimize your cherry picking, inshallah. Wallahu alam. Fadal.
Why is Abdullah ibn Maktoum attributed to his mother?
Question is, why is Ibn Maktoum attributed to his mother? There are several reasons why people are attributed to their mothers. Regardless of this specific Sahabi, this is common. Some people's fathers were unknown. Some people's fathers may have come from low lineage and they didn't want it to, have that shadow cast upon them. Sometimes a person they may come from other than marriage. I'm not saying about this the Sahabi, but just in general, lineage. So the different reasons why people are attributed to other than their father. Whether it's the mother, whether it's a village, a tribe, or whether it is to somebody else. Ibn Abdullah. Different reasons why a person isn't directly attributed to his father. There's several reasons. Wallahu alam. طيب تفضل. تفضل أبو بلال. You emancipate them with the wealth, with the money. Whatever that wealth comes from, whether it's the fruits being sold, whatever is produced of income, that is the means of buying that slave from bondage. And once they're bought, they're free. You don't have to live on the land or work on the land. You're free. You're free to go. Understand? Yeah, you're free to go. Wallahu alam. Obviously, that's a long discussion with regards to serfdom, sharecropping, a person being free, but at the same time, you're a slave. You're attached to the land, right? And the hypocrisy of the West as well, with regards to serfs. Wallahu alam. Fadl Ahmed.
What would be like the modern means of like manumitting a slave?
What would be the modern means of manumitting a slave? Well, first and foremost, you have to locate the slave. Are there slaves today in the world? Some people say there are, some people say there aren't. Some people may be watching and say, yes, of course, there's human trafficking, so on and so forth. Ala kulli hal. If you go to a land or a place and this person is a slave, you say, how much does he cost? All right, there you go, he's free. And in most cases, especially back in the day, says, master, don't leave. I swear, I vow, I will serve you for the rest of my life. You say, what? No, you're free. He said, well, take me what? He says, I'm yours. Take me what? As your slave, if you will, right? Huh? A person is free. You don't owe me anything. Obviously, it's decency for a person to acknowledge that, for a person to regard the fact that you did manumit me, but once you're free, you're free. Clear on that? And if that's not the case, if someone is being trafficked, may Allah protect people from being trafficked, our children, the Muslims, Allah Mustaan. Trafficking is real, right here in New York City. Very, very real. You don't have to go far to encounter trafficking and traffickers. However, you can manumit that person from that trafficking. But you got to be mindful. And I'm not saying it's impossible, but if trafficking and stopping it was so simple and easy, it would have been what? So it's a lot that goes into it with regards to culture and race and so on and so forth. Allah musta'an. Wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Fadal.
AG, Cairo, Egypt. Assalamu alaikum, Abi Ramla. May Allah bless and preserve you. Would you consider starting or continuing a show of a text in Usulul Fiqh?
Jazakallah khairan. May Allah bless all of the disciples in Egypt. Barakallahu fikum. What I consider doing a text in Usul of Fiqh. We have an explanation, we have a course on Usul of Fiqh. The HadithDisciple Academy, inshallah ta'ala. So as soon as the academy is launched, very soon, look out for that class, along with the semester itself. Structured learning with regards to Arabic, half English, Usul al-Fiqh. Wallahu alam.
AG, Cairo, Egypt. Do you have any advice for layman Muslims who are overwhelmed by the disunity and differences between Muslims, especially in light of current affairs?
Advice for Muslims, layman Muslims who are overwhelmed by the disunity of the Muslims, especially in light of the current affairs. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah is all you can say. That's all you can say. Obviously, from one aspect, it should make your faith grow stronger. Because the Prophet ﷺ told us what will happen and what will take place. The Quran tells us how the people would differ and fight and bicker. And how they only differed after the bayinat came to them. After the knowledge came to them. So that should increase you in faith. Obviously, as we just said, there will always be people that are upon the truth. There's always going to be somebody or some people that keep it real. That aren't sellouts or suckers. People who won't, just turn a blind eye and act like nothing is going on in the world, let alone in Lebanon and Gaza. To just act like it's not happening. Thousands and thousands of people just slaughtered and butchered. And to just act like nothing is going on and not say nothing. Alhamdulillah, everybody's not like that. Walillahi alhamd. And many Muslims are trying to speak out and do whatever they can, what's in their means to make the situation better. So I would advise you to align yourself with those people. If you feel lonely or exhausted, if you feel like you're the weirdo, like, is it me? Am I the crazy one? Because when I cut on the TV, when I look at the stuff on my phone, what did they say? They said 90 combatants were killed. Combatants, These little kids, these arms, this is a combatant to you. So sometimes you accuse yourself, maybe I'm the Majnun person. But when you realize that there are other people who say, no, you're not crazy. What's going on is appalling and atrocious and blatantly wrong according to all religions, all ways of life. And anyone who isn't condemning and shaming and selling arms to them is a criminal. That makes you feel better. So my advice is to align yourself with the people who are keeping it real and who aren't deaf, dumb, and blind. And they're out there. The people are out there. The real heads are what? They're out there. You got to find them or let them find you. Wallahu alam.
ZA, London, UK. Would a very low, around the ear and sideburn taper fade be considered hazah? Would it be a major sin?
A very low taper at a specific part of the head or the hairline, the jawbone, etc., would it be considered a qaza? And would it be a major sin? First and foremost is, I've never read any scholar of Islam saying that qaza is a major sin. The scholars who say that qaza is absolutely haram, it's not disliked. And the scholars who say that this or this isn't qaza, I've never read any of them saying that it's a major sin. That's first and foremost. As far as is a tapered haircut or hairstyle, a fade, we say in the United States, or the old term, the technical term is taper. When you go to barber school or you go to buy clippers, it's actually what? Tapering, right? So is that considered a qaza? Is that haram? I wouldn't necessarily say so. Wallahu alam.
AG, Cairo, Egypt. How do you discover beneficial books, Islamic or otherwise? And do you have any general starting points on how to research or become more educated in a topic from accurate sources?
how to find good books, how to become familiar and skilled with subjects and books and so on and so forth. Well, fortune favors the brave, as we say. So you can't be scared and afraid. If you're scared and afraid to venture out, to read, to study, to go to this bookstore, this library, you won't get any fortune. So you have to have courage. Put your trust in Allah. Bismillah. I'm going to go into the library. I'm going to open up. I'm going to just start reading. I'm going to see, look in the index. I'm going to see. And, oh, wait a second. Oh, okay. I read this before. I heard this. I don't understand this. Let me ask my teacher about it. Let me ask the sheikh after Maghrib. Yeah, sheikh. Qara'tu, I read in this hadith, so on and so forth. And you learn how to navigate through the library. Without a librarian, without a teacher, but you just walking around the library. Take an hour out your day, every day, and just walk around the library. Take notes, write things down, and just discover. And you'll be shocked what you'll find. And the more you diversify your sources, the stronger your comprehension grows. That's a rule of reading comprehension. One book, one source, one sheikh, limited comprehension. Now that doesn't mean that any Muslim is to read any book, nor does that mean that the student of knowledge is to study without a systematic way. It doesn't mean that. But there has to be a little bit of looseness, wildness, craziness to your formal structure. Like fashion, as we always say. If this is matching, this is coordinated, this is this, there has to be something on you that's a little outside of the box. Whether that's your handkerchief, whether that's your watch, your ring, your pin, something has to be a little what? Out of the formalities of everything. That's your studies. So if you're studying Arabic, you're studying with this sheikh, you're studying this Aqidah book, every now and then, 10 minutes, 30 minutes out the day, you need to what? You need to diverge from that and go into something else that is above your level or outside of your field at the time. And you realize, don't be naive, don't get confused or caught up, don't read some, book of sihr, I'm not saying that. Whack of that. So that's what I would say. And you can't realize what's an authentic source until you learn how to venture out. Navigation of the seas was only done after many people were what? Became lost and shipwrecked. That's the only way. Wallahu alam. Organized craziness. They say organized confusion, organized craziness. Understand this? Wallahu alam.
Oh, Springfield, Virginia. Assalamu alaikum, Mufti. Any advice to someone who once felt close to Allah but now feels far from Allah due to engaging in major sins?
Advice for someone who was once close to Allah, they felt close to Allah, then they feel far from Allah. And they feel far from Allah because of major sins in which they performed. Make tawbah. Ask Allah to forgive you. Ask Allah to have mercy upon you. Make sayyidul istighfar. Make the prophetic tawbah. Make dua. And ask Allah to allow you to be close to Him. And ask Allah to allow you to be beloved to Him. Stop the bleeding. The tourniquet, right? You know that you're making these major sins, stop them. And if there were no reason to stop making these major sins except for the greasy film that you feel on your soul, that yucky, ucky feeling of feeling far from Allah and distant, that's more than enough to get you to stop. Wallahu a'lam.
MB, UK, London. Is there a difference between calling a person misguided versus an innovator? We mentioned previously that we can't be in the middle and be bain al-manzilatayn. Could you explain this further?
Is there a difference between someone being misguided, being called misguided, and someone being called an innovator, so on and so forth? Yes and no. Someone is upon misguidance. It doesn't mean that they're an innovator. But many people, they misunderstand the word innovator. Many people think and feel that a mubtadi' has to be the one who makes the innovation and performs the and creates the innovation or calls to it. But if you read the speech of the scholars, people who perform and practice bid'ah, etc., they could be called an innovator, a mubtadi'. Not that they made the innovation and created it, but they're practicing it. So therefore, many people, they have a misunderstanding and misusage of the term and of the word, let alone abusing the word. And many people They suffer from identity crisis. They claim the love and allegiance and loyalty to this sheikh and his teachings, but at the same time, they want to be with the Salaf. And they want to be with the other scholars and other imams who clearly warned against throwing out these labels and terms. So they have to come up with a mating collar, a way to merge this with that. We are going to be aggressive and call people names and this and that, but at the same time, I never said he was an innovator. Because this imam, this scholar, warned against abusing people and calling them names. So be upfront with your madhab. And to kafir. I never said you're a kafir. I just said, just be upfront with it. The Khawarij, they had courage. They had guts. They weren't cowards. They weren't scared with what they believed. This is what it is, and this is what you are. So many people today, they have different traits of this group and that sect. And they have a sloppy mix, a salad bowl, a mixture of elements. And you'll find this. You find they have the elements of this Aqidah group, they have the elements of this political group, they have the elements of this sheikh, and at the same time, Salaf al-Salih, Imam Ahmed, so on and so forth, and also this sheikh who clearly isn't upon what he's upon, we also love and respect him. So they suffer from identity crisis. So they come up with these different weird categories and terms and how to evade the heat of calling someone a mubtadi' whilst at the same time calling them a mubtadi'. Basically, you have no rights. Don't sit in your class, don't speak with you, don't visit you, don't marry you, don't do business with you, get everybody to stay away from you, warn from you, but we never made tabdi' on him. What would be the difference if you did call him a mubtadi'? What would be the difference? So right now, if I were to die, you, Allahu Alam, but in theory, you wouldn't come to my funeral. If I'm doing a class, you can't sit with me. The people who do come and sit with me, you've poisoned them. Don't sit with him, such and such, or such and such. If I get sick, would you visit me in the hospital? If I was trying to get married, and then you heard the sister was about to marry me, says, don't marry him because he has such and such. What did we happen when we went to Guyana? Remember? And it's not personal, but I'm trying to show you from my own personal experiences. In the airport, the brother, he said, Sheikh, we would love for you to come to our masjid and benefit us. But the brother contacted us and he said that you have some issues with brothers in New York. Not that you're misguided, that you don't have knowledge. You have issues with people in a different country. That is the reason why we can't invite you to our masjid. And we come to the airport to apologize to you in your face. It's a true story. Look how stupid that sounds. You have opposed the Quran and Sunnah, we don't want you in our masjid. No problem. You're against the consensus, no problem. You have issues with brothers in New York. Cool. The police? Giuliani? Who are the brothers? Who are the people in New York I have issues with? And what are those issues? But that is enough for us to what? Boycott you. Would there be a difference if they labeled me an innovator? There wouldn't be. So put on a pair of pants is my advice. Take off the skirt, be a man, have the guts to stand up for what you believe in. Don't try to dip and dodge. Technically, we never said you were an innovator, but we just said, you should be treated like an innovator. That's a game, unfortunately. Wallahu alam. Everybody got the point or not? No. Tell you? Fuck the NYPD, huh? You got some issues with people in New York. Fuck though. I do, alhamdulillah. It's got issues with a lot of people. A lot of people got issues with me. It's the nature of life, huh? Fuck though.
NA, Detroit, Michigan. Can we pray just one istikhara for more than one matter? 2, 3, etc.? Or do we do them?
Try, if you're going to pray istikhara, because there's a very long discussion about Salatul Istikhara. And I don't want to open up a can of worms on a live stream. So please don't ask me about it. There's a long discussion about the prayer of Istikhara. Seeking Allah's guidance, there's no issue with that. But Salatul Istikhara is a long, long discussion. If you are going to make that prayer, then let it be for one thing that you mention in the supplication as it states. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam.
WS, Birmingham, UK. Assalamu alaikum. Jazakallah.
Allahu Akbar.
Ameen. MashaAllah. Tabarakallah. Allahumma barak alayhi. Ameen. What is the Islamic ruling on seeking ruqya? Is it farther for us to help our ikhwa?
What's the ruling on seeking ruqya? And is it fard for us to help our brothers? I don't understand the question. What's the ruling on seeking ruqya? Meaning you're in need of it? Is it fard upon them to help you? Right? At the end of the day, ruqya, like any other type of service or need of a Muslim, is mandatory when there's a need. Is it fard ayn, everyone, or some people have to do it? A Muslim's in need, you have to be there for your brother. Al-Muslimu akhul Muslim. Wallahu ta'ala alam.
ZA, London, UK. Can you please explain the hadith regarding Ibn Abbas mentioning the takbir after salah? Should the first thing you say be Allahu Akbar right after the taslim or asking forgiveness?
The narration of Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma with regards to the takbir during the time of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The very first thing you say after the taslim or etc. There's several different versions of these supplications to be made after the salah. Whether a person says Allahu Akbar first or Astaghfirullah first or starts off with Allahumma anta salam, you take what's mentioned. The hadith that's authentic, that's sound, the Prophet used to say this, the companions, you take all of it and you implement all of it. And you have the choice to prioritize and cherry pick what you choose to do, as long as it's all what? Authentic. Wallahu ta'ala alam.
MK, Cairo, Egypt. Assalamu alaikum. If a wife goes to her husband's phone and finds things he has been hiding from her, such as talking to another potential wife, and she says she loses trust in him as a result of this and starts disrespecting and not giving him his rights, what is your advice? Sheikh.
This will be our last question tonight. Coming from Cairo, Egypt. A wife goes to her husband's phone. She finds that he's on the move. On the hunt for what? Red October. Huh? He's trying to, make a second, hut, all right, or tent, all right, in the tribal lands. And afterwards, she says that she's lost trust for him. She doesn't give him his rights, so on and so forth. What's my advice? Like, all right. First and foremost is I'm highly against any spouse going through his or her spouse's phone. It's not okay. It's not cool. It's unhealthy, extremely. Spying, creeping, looking, searching, getting the passcode is not okay under any circumstance. Unless it's some extreme situation which you have to help out your spouse, they're on drugs, whatever, whatever the case. But if it's not that, it's not okay to go to your husband's phone. And any woman who does that, it's only going to lead to distress. Husband should not go to his wife's phone. Your wife is your wife. She's not a child. She's not your daughter. She has to obey you, so on and so forth, respect you, but she's not your child. Let me go through your phone and make sure. And if you have to check and this and that, and what do they call it, helicopter parenting, right? Or micromanage your wife to every minute detail, and what does that mean improve? That there's no what? There's no trust. And in most cases, the more you go through somebody's phone and this and that, the slicker they're going to become. They're just going to become more underground. They're going to become slyer. They're just going to learn how to creep and dodge and bob and weave more and go further, what? Underground. Hence the wars, right? Palestine, Vietnam. The more bombing you do, the more what? The more underground they go. And the more guerrilla they become. And the harder it is for you to finish the job and mop up the insurrection. So that extreme heavy hand is never what? It's never good. It's need for some heavy hand and every now and then on this and that. But that bang, just carpet, it's not going to bring about the results that you want. So that's point number one. Obviously, we're talking about the past. The wife went through the phone. And many of you are going to say, well, I don't have nothing to hide from your wife. Oh, if your wife goes to your phone, that's fine. She has the passcode, you share a picture, this and that. That's not the same as her going through your phone, searching and looking. This Ducky app, it's a calculator, but in reality, it's a vault. Okay? This, all right, what's the words you use? Those types of apps. You know, it looks like a calculator or it looks like a, a thing, but it's actually something else. So you're going through systematically trying to go through stuff is not okay. That's number one. All right, it happened. It's done already. Talk to your husband. Speak to him. You want another wife? Yes or no? That's your haq. And that's a long discussion to be had. I'm not with those women or those womanly men who say that nonsense. It is the haq of the husband to take on another wife, period. You either accept it or you don't. Oh, this, blah, blah, blah. He tell me, communicate. Either accept it or you don't. It's his haq. Why do you need another wife? Why do you need one wife? I don't need a wife. There's professional laundry service, Uber Eats, right? Friends with benefits, girls. There's an app you can use. Women can. What do I need a wife for? I can adopt a child, right or wrong, Mikha? Give me one reason why I need a wife. Fadal Bilal, tell me. Give me a real reason why a man needs to have a wife. Anything that your wife you expect to do, you can what? You can get. So therefore, this dumb question, why do you need a second wife? Why do you need a what? It's a stupid question. I'm sorry. It's not a question of intelligence. I'm jealous. I'm insecure. Of course, I want you by myself, but bismillah. So oftentimes women, they make things extremely hard for their husbands, difficult, emotions, whatever. And then when the husband goes underground and he flies underneath the radar, then they get mad and they get upset. You didn't communicate with me. You didn't tell me about it. You didn't tell me my emotions. You left me no choice. Because if I came to you and said, hey, I'm about to get married, atomic explosion. So you got to be realistic with yourself. Don't lie to yourself. So oftentimes men have to hide because the women leave them no what? No choice. It's a sad reality. There's a cause and effect of everything in life. We don't just blame one person, demonize one person, and anoint the other. We're not into that. Point number 3. If he wants to get married, it's his haq to get married. If he doesn't have enough money, if he doesn't provide enough, if he doesn't spend enough time with you, then those are problems already in your marriage. People expect perfect polygamy while accepting horrible monogamy. It's extremely hypocritical as well. He's a dog with one wife. What makes a difference him having 2 wives? He's still a dog. He's poor and broke with you. He can barely take care of you. He doesn't give you the time. He doesn't talk with you. He doesn't spend any time. He's abusive. He was abusive with you. So you accept terrible monogamy, but polygamy? No. You don't have enough money. You don't have enough time. You're not of this. You're not of that. But you accept the major flaws and cracks in his engine block. That's because the only issue that you have with polygamy is jealousy and insecurity. Nuqta. End of sentence. Period. It's the only problem that you have with it. Moving forward, if he didn't get married and he plans on getting married, tell him how you feel and how you want him to communicate with you and include me. I'm not against it. I just want to know. There's a woman I'm going to be sharing my husband with. I need to know. I would like to know. Okay, no problem. And if he does that, bismillah. And if he doesn't do that, and you think and feel that he's sneaking and cheating and hiding, then the law will expose it. There's no point in you trying to make your own detective work. It's only going to lead to you being accused of being a bad wife. It's only going to lead to further discourse, fighting, arguing, and most importantly, it's only going to make him go underground better, and which you're not going to be able to catch him. All right. Obviously, if you were doing something shady or dodgy, halal or haram, whatever the case may be, you can't get mad if your wife lacks trust or loses trust. Got to be patient with that. Even if it was halal, but you were doing it without her knowledge, she's going to, doubt where you at. Send me your location or FaceTime me. Don't text me. Show me where you at right now. Okay? As far as a woman not giving her husband his rights because of him trying to get a second wife or sneaking, even if it's the haram stuff, then obviously there's no discussion regarding that. If he's your husband, then you're required to give him his rights. If you don't want to give him his rights anymore, you seek a divorce. But as long as you guys are husband and wife, you have rights over him and he has what? Rights over you. والله تعالى أعلم سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك